Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, which is still relatively new. By the way, have you seen my get to know me video? If you haven't, you should check it out. Anyways, in the spirit of getting to know me, this video is about how I got into the fintech industry. A bit of background about me: I studied computer science for my undergraduate degree, and I also have a master's in business intelligence and analytics. I work in a fintech company where I build and work with data teams that manage multiple data platforms, which powers millions of transactions on a daily basis. So people often ask me how I got into tech and how to advance in a tech career, especially as someone who works in data. So I made this video to answer some of those questions in depth, and I really hope a lot of you will find it helpful. With that said, here's my tech journey. As with everyone in an average Nigerian family, when I was growing up, I was expected to study medicine or become a lawyer or become an engineer. That was like the three set career paths for most people. I was optimizing for getting into the medical college, and I had an interesting conversation with my older brother. Shout out to my brother. I'm sure I cannot even remember this. We randomly talked and he mentioned something to me that, am I sure that I really want to study medicine because I really like medicine, or because I just wanted to prove to my parents that, I'm able to actually, succeed and have the academic prowess. And what he told me opened my eyes to something, a concept that I now sort of like fully understand what it meant. And what my brother was really trying to sort of shine the light to me on then was, based on my nature, he strongly believed that I should look elsewhere, that medicine might not be the kind of course for me. As a child, I was very curious. I was very adventurous. I was also very courageous. I was bold, right? Very confident. I grew up in a family where, we were allowed to be ourselves and we were allowed to ask questions. Nobody shuts you down. So my brother, sort of tuned my mind to this. Are you sure you want to do medicine? And we just started, randomly just checking, okay, what other courses are available? Sometimes it was like a developing field, so to say, back then, right? So I had this random chat with my brother and we checked, and I felt like, as at that time in my life, I felt like I didn't really like mathematics and all of those things. So I felt my strength was biology, chemistry, and that was why I was tuning for medicine initially. Anyways, long and short, my brother sort of jump-started my thinking, and for what it's worth, I felt, okay, I didn't want to do mechanical engineering, I didn't want to do electronic engineering because I felt like there would be a lot of calculations and all of that. But then this idea of computer science came. I think it was one of the preachers that I listened to that sort of defined this concept of what is called SHAPE, S-H-A-P-E. I want to read what it actually means so that I don't mix it up. So the acronym is SHAPE. S means your spiritual gifts, right? So your special abilities, that God has given you. H is your art, that means your deepest desires, your passions, we all have these things. A is your abilities, your natural talents, what comes naturally to you. P is your personality, your temperaments, how you react to things and all of that. And E is experiences, your life events, education, family, and all of that. So I felt like looking at the events of my life based on this concept of shape. I'm a deeply spiritual person, so again, I'll be referencing the concept of spirituality as I talk about this. So I believe that my shape was well suited for my career, even without me necessarily consciously setting myself up for that. I felt like, based on the definition that I've explained for shape, I was, quote unquote, shaped for a career in tech based on all the things that I've listed. I'm naturally curious. I always want to learn. I have a heart for people. I have a heart for helping people as well. I naturally want to see things through in terms of my abilities. I want to, if I put my mind to something, I see it through. And these are like key ingredients that really helps when you want to learn tech stuff. So anyways, back to the story. So my brother talks to me. We decided to go for computer science out of sheer curiosity, remember, coming from my shape. I started learning, and I really was drawn to the concept of computing at that early age. So that's how I ended up studying computer science, right? Luckily for me, or I would say providence, I didn't get a job that just threw me randomly anywhere. I got a job in the technology department of one of the foremost banks in Nigeria back then. So I continued to earn my skills, right, around computer science and engineering. So I learned a lot working in the bank back then. And this sort of like now exposed me to the concept of data. I remember I was working in a department where we were dealing with ATMs. My role was to like understand how to configure an ATM. A lot of the early inventions and the things that were done around ATMs back then, I learned in that bank. And my role as even an entry-level person was to make sure these ATMs were configured them, you know. So I was doing all of that. And then it opened me up to the world of data, right? So I think my initial first contact with data was I had to be the one to resolve dispense errors, right? When people use their ATM cards and they don't get value and then their accounts were debited. Then I started learning about databases where I had to then go into a database and sort of match the transactions. So it was all interesting for me. Again, remember my shape. I was curious, it was exciting, it was challenging for me. I was learning new things, you know. So this continued to trigger my interest in data and stuff. So I wanted to do more and learn more. This pushed me to move into another company, which was an oil and gas company then. They were setting up a data center, right? They were using another application that I really wanted to learn then. So I landed the job at the oil and gas company as well. Again, as I was doing these things, I was curious, I was learning more, I was reading, it was exciting to me, right? A few years into working at the oil and gas company, I was thinking of going to do my master's. I started talking to friends, some of my friends that already were living abroad. I wanted to sort of determine what to study that would continue to help me with what I was doing. And that was how, you know, from talking to friends, researching, the concept of big data again was very new in Africa back then. So in fact, I remember talking to a few colleagues and I was like, they didn't really understand what I was saying. Anyways, I pinned it down to business intelligence and analytics. So I went on to do my master's. That was a game-changing experience. I got to the university that I went to in the UK, right? And it felt like I was learning in a completely different way. A lot of the things that I thought I already knew in terms of the concepts around data generally changed. You know, I had to go into statistics, programming, all of those things. So all the things that I learned in Nigeria that I've worked with, again, I improved on them when I was in the UK. Spent some time working in the UK as well. By this time, I was now really getting a grasp of what I wanted to do in terms of data, right? So by the time I was done with my master's in business intelligence and analytics, I had a decision to make. Did I want to major in analytics or engineering or data science, right? So that was another crossroad for me. So this was what I did. I felt like I had abilities to do the three things at the time because I learned all the three when I was doing my master's. However, I felt like for me, an entry point then for me, I was particularly drawn to data engineering, right? So I felt like I needed to earn that skills. So I started learning data engineering skills. I was enrolling in courses. I created like a lean approach that was feasible for me to actually do back then with the job that I was doing. I moved back to Nigeria and then I started self-learning, improving on all the skills that I learned in the UK, right? A lot of the things that I also learned that were theoretical, I was practicalizing them, right? Trying my hands on public data sets, you know. So also at work, when I landed a role as a business intelligence analyst, right? It took me a while to understand the domain. So by this time now, I was getting a job in a fintech company, right? So I'd worked in banking, I'd moved to oil and gas, went to do my master's, then I came back to a fintech. So it was a different domain. Again, I was exposed to another world of data. So fintech data is somewhat different from banking data and oil and gas data and all of that. So I started learning the domain based on the knowledge that I also have. Learning the domain also continued to improve myself, right? And I realized that as challenges were coming at work, the more I was accepting those challenges, the more I was getting better with my skills as well. I started moving up the rank in terms of the work I was doing, and I started then building teams, right, that could then support the work that I was doing, right? That was sort of how I sort of morphed over the years. So the environment where I now currently work requires that there are capabilities for data analysis, there are capabilities and needs for engineering and also data science. So that is how I eventually ended up in like the ecosystem where there's a need for us to actually mine data. There's a need for us to, keep this data, administer it, manage it. There's also a need for us to actually draw insight from the data, and there's a need for us to present that insight in such a way that, people can use it, So that is sort of how I went through that journey. What is critical to draw out for me was that at every point in time where I've had a challenge or where I've been exposed to a new thing, I think my approach typically is always I would need to go and learn, right? And figure it out. Again, I'm focusing on like my data skills and all of that. As with any tech role, you have to continue to learn. I think the nature of the job just requires continuous learning because there will be new skills, new technologies, new applications, new concepts and all of that around the work that you're doing. And also, I think I'm at the point in my life now where I'm not only learning from like maybe books or platforms, I'm learning from people, I'm learning from experiences of people, I'm learning from how different perspective to do things from other people. While I'm bringing my own experiences, I'm also learning from other people. So it's also very important to be open on your journey. You will meet people that don't know as much as you do, but the little that they know, they have a slightly different approach that is different from yours, and you can learn from them. So I also think it's very important to identify that even as you are growing in your career, right? While you know to a certain level, you can still learn from the people that are behind you, right? Also, very important to continue to also pour out to people. In a nutshell, that is sort of how my journey started. I think I was naturally shaped for working in data because I'm a curious person. I pay a lot of attention to detail. I like to do things excellently well, right? I have a heart for people, so as I'm learning, I also want to teach others. And that way, that has helped me to sort of like replicate myself in a lot of people, build teams, and sort of extend all the knowledge that I've amassed over the years, right? So I think that's pretty much what I would say for now. I'm still learning. I've been working for almost 20 years right now, but I would say it has been very challenging, very rewarding, and very inspiring. So I'm still open to learning, and I'm also extending my own graces and teaching other people as well. So I hope if you are someone that you are looking to either transition into tech, or you are currently working in tech, you want to transition into maybe the data field, I think the key things I would like you to take note is try and first of all understand what is your purpose, right? And that will allow you sort of also carve out what your vision is in that aspect of your life. Why do you want to transition into tech? Or why do you want to transition into data? Again, if you go by the concept of what you are shaped for, are you really, if you say I want to become a DevOps engineer or a software developer, what are the natural attributes that software developers or software development requires, right? Do you think you have those attributes? Do you have attention to detail, long suffering? Are you able to debug and be patient? Do you study new things from time to time? Are you curious, doing new things, innovation, does it excite you? You need to check yourself. There are so many roles in tech that requires coding, that does not require coding, so many roles. And I believe for these roles, how you are shaped plays a lot of part in what determines how you will excel in them. So I think it's important for you to go through the filter of what your shape is, what you're shaped for, and then that helps you sort of fine tune or determine what aspect of tech you want to go into. I'd mentioned how I got into data and all of that. You can filter your life with this concept of what you're shaped for and then decide where you want to go. Then I always say it has to be a lean approach, right? Don't go at it all at once. You want to maybe become a data engineer, you want to learn Python, you want to learn SQL, you want to learn Spark all in 3 months. It doesn't work that way. I've been on this journey for almost 20 years, like I said. So you need to pace yourself and phase how your learning will be. You can say that, what are the capstone skills that is required for data science? What are the capstone skills required for data engineering? You can say, I'm going to learn a scripting tool, a programming language or something. Do you get? I want to learn this platform and I'm going to learn it for the next 3 months and 6 months. And then you keep trying your hands out, trying to practice and all of that. Then as you are building your depth, you then start spreading out gradually, adding to the skills over time. Try your hands, you learn something, try your hands, build a portfolio of your work. Post it on LinkedIn, post it on, social media. Let people see what you have done. You'll be shocked that if you think, oh, I don't know this thing 100%, there's somebody else that knows 69% and you know 75%. There's somebody else that knows less than you know. So the idea is to iteratively learn, show what you've learned as much as possible in like building your portfolio, creating things, developing things, working on data sets or developing a tool, writing an application, building a website, whatever aspect of tech, right? Learn again, iteratively show what you've done, learn again. Before you know it, if you give yourself like 5 years, you'll be shocked at how far you will have come in terms of improving your skills. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have questions or comments about tech and data generally, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section. If you also have tips for people that want to come into tech on how they can advance in their tech career, also drop a comment in the comment section. If you want to connect with me, I am on Instagram as I am Adejoju. Please feel free to follow me on Instagram as well. Also, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Please, guys, it is very important to subscribe at this point because it's a relatively new channel, so it means a lot to me. So thank you so much for watching. I've had a good time sharing my journey with you guys. Until next time, see you guys. Bye.